Hi, this is Peter Godinez, your ambassador with KADY TV, with a series called Face the County. And we have the good fortune to have the executive producer, the founder of KADY TV, Bob Allen. I'm sure many of you know who he is and have met him. But today we're going to talk about power plant. And I just started off with that. There's lots to be said about it. Bob, I'm sure you'd agree, there's opposing sides. But give us a little executive summary of what you'd like to deliver today.
Well, the first thing I'd like to do is summarize the results as we saw it of the recent town hall meeting held about the power plant. There are two power plants on the beaches in our area. One is Mandalay Bay and one is out on the south side of Port Hueneme. There is a proposal by NRG, who owns the power plant, land and the power plant, to build a new, more efficient plant to meet the 2020 guidelines, which state that 95% of all water that's being used now has to be cut out, and basically 33% or a third of all electricity must come from natural green products like solar or wind energy.
So a balanced portfolio, in other words.
Exactly. So the plants that we have here now are called what are referred to as peaker plants.
Tell us what that is.
In other words, they are called upon to start up when there is a need to put electricity into the power grid throughout the United States or Southern California. And basically, if you get very hot weather like we're having now, many people are going to be using air conditioners. So it would probably be today working. But then you get many days like in June gloom or, the hurricane, the tornado season, whatever it be, where they can't produce, green energy, and therefore the plant has to run a little bit more. So there was a nice panel discussion. There were people from NRG, there were people from the city, and there were speakers who basically gave presentations, and that whole thing can be seen in our archive video, okay? However, what I wanted to discuss today was something that I walked away from that meeting. The conclusion of what those people are basically doing is NRG is stating they would like to build a new power plant, okay? They would like to build that power plant on a piece of land that they own at Mandalay Bay. That power plant would be much more 21st century technology, and it would enable them to then knock down both of the old ones for one new one. The city of Port Hueneme, the city of Oxnard, does not want any power plants in their city. They have voted twice to do that. So what we have, Peter, is two sides. NRG says if you don't give us the right to do the power plant, we're not going to, we'll build it somewhere else, and we're not going to dismantle the two old ones. So who is going to do that? So what I saw is a complete impasse on two sides. One side saying, if you don't do this, we'll do this. The other side coming back and saying no. Nowhere did I hear of how could we accommodate both sides. And that's what I wanted to suggest this morning.
And is that something you would like to state kind of as a wrap up, because we want to consolidate this?
Exactly, Peter. I see the side where basically there's a group of people that say, why doesn't NRG take and buy a piece of land across the east side of Harbor Boulevard and build the plant there? That way it would give the beach back, and if the city gave them the approval to do that, they would then dismantle both of the old plants after the new one is built. But there is two, like what we see in the rest of our country today, there's no discussion of compromise in the middle, and that's what I want to suggest today. You asked, a peaker plant is no more than a plant that only starts up when it's needed to put in the electricity. So basically, you have all the facilities built, you have all the people sitting there, whether it's working or not, because they have to be prepared right away. Well, why not look at an alternative? And that is what I want to pose to everybody today, okay?
It's very well stated, and I just thought to say, like, compromise, I think we said say positive compromise, a win-win situation, because there's not enough time in this program just to go over the different elements that are
You're right.
driving this. And I think you stated it quite nicely, Bob.
You're absolutely correct, Peter. So here's one of the things. If we're going to have and build a new plant, let's say it would be on the other side, and and NRG goes and buys that property. Well, the city should make a compromise. Once NRG dismantles the old plant, they will buy that piece of land from NRG for the same price that NRG had to pay for their new property on the other side of Harbor Boulevard.
Interesting.
And I want to ask you,
Talk to me.
which one do you think is the more expensive property?
I would think beach usually.
Not even in question, right? So basically, the city or the county would be benefiting from that whole thing, okay?
Yeah, and that's what you call a win-win situation.
Partially. Okay?
Partial win-win.
In other words,
In progress.
It's in progress. So let's put the finishing touches to that. If this is going to be a peaker plant that is only going to work when there's energy needed because green energy cannot supply enough, why not figure out how to use that energy, electricity, and run that plant all the time? And that is where we can come up with, why not build not only a peaker plant, but right next door, why not put a desalination plant in? Now, we have a problem with water here, right? Well, we got plenty of seawater. We just have to take the salts out. Well, how do you take the salts out? It takes a lot of energy to evaporate that water so that the salt stays, and then let the water condense so that you have good potable water. Well, why not put the plant there, run the electricity plant full bore, and use the desalinization plant as the peaker plant? When energy is needed for the grid from the, from the plant, well, now the desal plant is becoming the peaker desal plant. So that is all I really wanted to propose for thinking. In other words, let's look at making a proposal to NRG that says if you buy a piece of land and build a factory, the plant on the other side, somebody will buy back the old property after you dismantle it. And maybe we can get something even better here in this area by combining those two. So that's all I really wanted to suggest for people to think about and start discussing.
And we had the good graces of having the NRG people here, and I think that was a good sign. So Bob, thank you so much for your time, and I hope that somehow, some way, that people are listening, and I just wanted to compliment the people who are listening. You're listening, and that makes you special, because you care about community. So thank you. This is Peter Godinez, your ambassador. Until next time.